Hey, welcome to Vinyl Night, powered by Intertalk Radio, the groove of the music industry. I'm your host, John Robinson, coming to you live, not from Vinyl Night Studios, but from the Drum Workshop Showroom in Oxnard, California. This show features some of the most influential people in the music industry. Each week, I'll interview and have a candid, intimate, in-depth one-on-one with all the manufacturers, musicians, recording engineers, singers, and producers that have changed the world. Before we get started, I'd like to give a big thanks out to DW Drums, Paiste Cymbals, Remo Drumheads, Regal Stick Drumsticks, Blue Microphones, Zoom Cameras, LP Percussion, Roland, and Auralex. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time, and obviously you and I go way back, but I'm going to read a little bit of kind of your pre-bio. This is kind of like when you were in diapers thing. At Drum Workshop, the drummer's choice, and it's a factor for 44 years. You guys have the tireless dedication of improving the way drum products are made. Your pedals have become the standard. The drums are definitely the best drums in the world. And, back in 1972, you and Don Lombardi opened up he had a small teaching studio in Santa Monica, and John, you started studying there, and it was called Studio Drum Workshop, hence the name that floated into, our present, offering private lessons and workshops. And when you were actually seeking an ad for Drum Shop, you now, as the vice president, signed up for lessons under Don when you were the ripe old age of 17, and, he tried to correct your bad drumming habits, which, I can actually relate to that with myself. You guys started brainstorming new ideas and came up with a height-adjustable trap case seat, which I remember that. That was really, really cool. You connected with Camco, and like I said, the DW train just started rolling at that point. As a drum technician, from when I met you, you discovered that each drum has its unique range and what sounds the best, eventually leading you to create the Timbre Matching system. From the bearing edges to the wood species to timber matching, you have, spent decades refining the drum builder's art and technology. I would like everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Sermon of the Wood, the great John Good.
Wow. I don't know if I can live up to that, Pally.
Yeah. Well.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's really nice to be here. Thanks for having me. And, boy, you're pretty good at this stuff. If I don't say so myself.
I can get in my Chuck Niles voice.
Get into that voice, yeah.
But, it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's like, probably a lot of people don't know this, but we're neighbors. Practically neighbors. I can throw a rock at your house. I think.
Oh, that was you, huh?
Yeah, it was me.
Dang, okay.
That bag was on fire? No, that wasn't me. So anyway, it's so nice the way you kind of take us through a journey of how we got started. And the way we got started was pretty doggone interesting because it was a need for drummers to be able to rely on people who are drummers. And I was a wannabe drummer because Don tried to teach me for 3 months, and he gave up one day. He says, what's wrong with you? And I said, I don't want to practice. I want to play rock and roll. What's with this rubber pad? You know? So he says, I've had all these successful cats, and you're probably not going to be one of them.
Wow.
And actually it was a weight off my shoulders because I was always messing around with how do you get the sound out of a drum, right? And I very quickly learned that there is a resonant frequency in each drum shell. And it's not always the same from one size drum to the very same size drum, let's say, even if they're constructed the same.
Right.
And when I realized that, and I kind of preach that to some of the people who come through here and are interested, because let's face it, I'm the guy at a trade show with a piece of plywood in his hand. Does anybody care? How about you? You care?
Yeah.
Anyway, but it turns out that people do care because they want to know more about their instrument, right? And people say, well, if they're the same number of plies, the same size and everything, why are they different? Right. I said, well, you and I are two men, and we should be exactly the same.
Right.
That's what makes this wonderful world go round. So it makes my world go round. And when I started to mess with those concepts and physics, most of all, we're all controlled by physics. And if you get a good grasp on what goes up and must come down, it makes things a lot easier. It was an eye-opener for me to get involved. And being with Don Lombardi, who just basically has always been like an older brother to me.
Right.
And I was a pain in the rear end in a lot of ways, but, he did realize, wait a second, we both have a passion for this. And so being able to give that back to the drumming community and listen to them as opposed to what's good for retail.
Right.
No, first, what's good for a drummer? That's where we were going.
Well, I was going to suggest that, maybe, and I'm not saying this to all the fellow drummers out there with bad habits, but your bad habits led into a good end result.
Well, because you got to pick out your strengths and weaknesses, right? I mean, basically, I knew how to make a drum sound good, and I always had a knack for that. And there was a guy named Joe Montanari that was a neighbor of mine way back when we were first starting a drum workshop. And, he and his wife and my girlfriend at the time, we'd all get together and, believe it or not, play Scrabble, right? And they're spelling out words like cat and barn, and we're spelling out tube-lug, and stuff like resonance. And he was one of the guys who actually said, John, listen to these snare drum shells. This one's high, ding, ding, ding. This one's much lower, doom, doom, doom. You wouldn't tune those the same to expect to get the sweet spot out of it, right?
Right.
So that was cool, and I learned a lot from that. And I was literally in the shower one day. A lot of these things happen in the shower. I don't know why. But I was thinking, wait a second. Is that why a lot of drum sets don't work together as an instrument,
Right.
In a lot of ways, you can see that there should be physics involved. There should be, a protocol if everything was the same, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they aren't. They're organic things. They're beautiful organic things. So I started to apply that timbre matching idea to strike the intervallic relationship between drums and get it right from that point on, tune up like a drummer would tune his drums, and then build from there. And there was a lot of revelations that came from things like that.
Sure, that makes, I can kind of relate with looking at other drum companies from the older days and realizing and seeing maybe some drummers that I knew playing things, and I go, these don't sound like they belong together. They look like they belong together,
right?
But they don't sound like it.
Yeah, it's like you can have the greatest looking hardware and beautiful finishes and such, but if your bearing edges are out to lunch, forget it, you got nothing.
Right.
If your timbre is all off, you got nothing. So I started to slowly but surely tap into what makes a drum kit really work. And, Keltner would come in and he said, look at this. At that time we had glass like this, and we'd put the shell and there was ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't even playing my drums at the time, but can you fix this? And I started fixing all these guys' drums by grinding them down, making it as flat as I could, and I had a router
Right.
that I would cut, the bearing edges with, and it happened like that, put it back together, tune it, because it was now able to be tuned,
Right.
and people would take it back and they'd go, my God, these drums sounded great when I got them back to the studio. And by the way, could you come help us in the studio? And so, Don and I didn't have a lot of money at all, and I said, well, yeah, I'd love to have that studio experience because I wasn't really hip to much of that kind of stuff. So we go in there and make a record, and then it turned into, are you busy? Could you possibly go on the road with us? And so that became a road thing.
Wow.
And and it was like that was a lifelong dream to figure all that stuff out too.
Well, it's interesting. I remember before actually we met, and everybody saying, "Yeah, I've just taken my X brand to John Good to fix them," and I go, "Oh man, I think I need to do that," But it never. I think our time was coming later.
It did come later, And the funny thing about edges and the knowledge and learning more about drums goes way back to when I was a kid in Birmingham, Michigan, right? And I would throw a tennis ball against this garage door. Boom, boom. And I'd sit there and go, listen to that, boom. And my dad drove up the driveway in his brand new Ford LTD. And he said, son, do you know how much that car costs? And I said, no. And he said, $4,000. I went, oh my God, a hair on fire right away. He says, you throw that ball against that door one more time and I'll break you in half. Oh. But I found out later that door, and the reason I like that tone, is the prototype of what I just made you. And you said to me at lunch today, we have a problem.
Yes. Oxnard, we have a problem.
Yeah.
So we're about to go to a break, and I wanted to actually talk to you about your very first drum set, because this particular brand drum set probably was always etched in your brain and probably got you into your A design.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get into that in a minute.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back.
As soon as we can.
Yeah. But I was going to say, you said we had a problem in Oxnard?
Well, the only problem is that material was a very light material, because we didn't have electric garage doors then.
Right.
So, petite ladies had to be able to lift the door up and put it down. And that material is a very special material that we'll talk about later.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back, and I want to find out exactly what that first drum set was made of.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back. John Good.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, Behind the Velvet Rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
great Earth, Wind, and Fire, Shining Star. And we are also with the great John Good from DW Drums, drum guru, dear friend, and football buddy. Yeah. That band, you have some sort of connection with that band, don't you?
Well, I do, but before we talk about that, which kind of ties in,
right.
That first drum kit deal?
Yeah, your very first drum set that led you into this design.
Into all this stuff?
Yeah.
You know, I had a red sparkle Lyra drum kit from Sears.
Oh, my God.
Okay? Yeah, it was made in Taiwan, and there were extra parts. So if you ordered another one, would come from Japan, maybe, and all this and that. But I loved that kit, and I went to Europe, went away to live in Europe, and I was there for 2 years. With my parents moved.
Right.
You know, my dad was a big shot and machine tools and all that stuff. And when we came back, most of my childhood possessions were gone.
Ooh.
And nobody could ever tell me, because I bet they didn't want to, instead of like, what happened to your drum kit? Look over here, look over, there's a bird, it's a plane.
Right.
Anyway, so I kind of let it go, but I loved it, you know, and so all these years later, working in this industry, we're being courted by some people, lo and behold, to build the PDP drums.
Right,
okay?
Sure.
So I find myself in Taiwan with this guy named Kenneth Chen, and we're walking from factory to factory to factory. And I said, you know, it was a dark, rainy day, and there's not a lot going on in this factory, and it's just, and these poor people are just putting together little screws and parts and things, and they're saying this factory could use some work. And as we're walking along, I go, what's that smell?
Uh-oh.
And they said, what do you mean, what's this smell? I said, wait a second. I have smelled that before. And right, it's amazing what your nose knows.
Right.
And I went right back to that drum kit in my bedroom, my little tiny bedroom in Birmingham, Michigan. And I said, please, go ask your grandfather if they ever built drums for Sears here. So he goes over there, and they go, wah, 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 you know, and I didn't understand what they were saying.
Right.
Anyway, and he comes back and he goes, he's so sorry and regretful to tell you that he does not know this Sears company, but there was a distributor they made things for called Roebuck in America. And so I went, oh my goodness, this drum kit was made. I mean, I'm standing where that came from.
So the Sears Roebuck catalog when we were kids.
Yeah.
That's where it came
That's where it came from.
Oh, my God.
Check it out someday.
Do you have this kit?
Well, you know, so my dear wife, Esther, she's so, I mean, the coolest person I know, aside from you, JR.
No.
Anyway, and she started on this quest when I told her that story, and it kind of went in one ear and out the other, I thought. And she started working on this, I think, in 2008. And she would go and find a drum here, a drum there, and they put it all together. They refurbished it here at my factory underneath my nose.
I was wondering how they pulled that off without you seeing that.
Garrison hid it in obscure places. Anyway, it's my birthday a few years ago. And Billy Ward happened to be staying with me. And so we go to the Crown and have some lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're there, and everyone's looking at their watches and such, and I'm going, well, let's go back. And they go, well, why don't you have a glass of wine or something?
Yeah.
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, okay, it seemed like they're stalling or something. But anyway, so I'm expecting, is there going to be a birthday cake and someone's going to light it? We walk in the front door of my house, and there was the kit. A complete, actual, authentic Lyra kit.
Nice.
And I cried. I was stunned. And lo and behold, you put it together
Yeah, I did.
in the house while we were having lunch, right?
Yeah, we had to stall you a little longer.
And, yeah, it was like...
Plus, I blew on it for a second.
Oh, you probably did, man.
I-
And your sticks still sit there. And it's in my bedroom, of
Well,
course, where it should be.
That's such a great story.
And that is a museum piece that I dearly love. And
Well,
thank you for that.
Well,
by the way.
it's my pleasure, and you know, obviously, I can see, you know, like as a shining star, you are, you transitioning. You know, you're fixing other cats' drums.
Well, I did that, you know, and I did that for Freddie White, and he was one of those guys who says, you know, come to the studio, the drums sound great, and he was playing Yamaha drums,
Right.
and so I made some alterations there because they were early drums.
Right.
And then lo and behold, we went on the road, and it was like this, wow. And this is when they were at the top of their game, really, and they're still so amazing. But we did this whole tour, and it was a great experience for me. And the funniest thing about it all is all these years later, Freddie is no longer with the band. He's in Chicago, I think.
Right.
In the city of Chicago. But I find myself with Ralph Johnson sitting across my desk. I was the drum tech, asking me for an endorsement. Isn't that funny?
Wow.
And he was going, this is creeping me out, man. What am I doing here asking you? But anyway, Ralph, through the years, has just been such a dear friend of mine, and love the guy. I love the band. And, John Paris, they play, and, and they're out with Chicago on and off this summer.
Right.
So it's just like a great show to see.
Yeah, I loved Maurice. He was a very dear friend of mine, and I got to record Earth, Wind and Fire record, a couple of tunes that didn't do anything, but I got to record Maurice's solo record, and I wrote with him a little bit.
Oh man!
But to me, and us musicians, we look at Earth, Wind and Fire as the Bible.
Oh,
it's the Bible, Yeah. But you've got, you just didn't stop with Earth, Wind and Fire.
No, well, because I do that because Don and I once again, Don was like really holding down the fort, and I needed to explore, find out, what works, what doesn't work, what stands you can put together and tear down every night. And I'd come back after a tour. Mind you, I made a lot of money. $400 a week.
Oh, you stop now.
I don't know where I spent it all, but anyway. So I'd come back and I'd tell Don, this was very cool. This didn't quite work. I figured out, you find yourself at Madison Square Gardens over and over again when you're on the road with a bunch of bands. And I did this in short order of time. I went on the road a lot, but with some big shots, and I figured out, what makes a snare drum project, hit the back seat at Madison Square Gardens. How am I going to do that? Forget the PA. I want to know. And that's where the Edge snare drum came from. It's brass rings on the top and bottom. And lead singers hate that drum. Anyway, so we went from doing all those things, and then, I got this call to go out with Frank Zappa.
Wow.
And that, I was working for Chad Wackerman, who's, by the way, going to be at Gearfest.
I heard he's going to be at Gearfest.
Yeah. Can't wait to see him, man.
See him next week.
It's going to be a great hang. Anyway, we go out and I took his drums, and they were boom, 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 wobbling all over the place. So we fixed those. And there was this great engineer named Mark Pinsky, and he was like the guy in the recording truck because they recorded absolutely everything. Rehearsals, sound check, the show, after show. Anyway, so I'm just this young, energetic drum tech, right? And I wanted to be on everybody's good side. So loading the truck at night, I'd look, I didn't know much about a truck pack. We had all these furry cases up on the dance floor of this big semi. And I said, well, this one looks pretty cool. And I got behind it, and I'm running up there. And I dumped that case on there, and suddenly my collar I was pulled out of this truck, and it was by the production manager, Al Santos. And he had the finger out. He was going, "Do you know what you just did?" And I said, "Al, I'm just trying to help, and what's up?" And he goes, "Do you know what those furry cases are up there?" I said, "No." He says, "You just put a case full of spare speakers on top of recording tape."
Oh.
And with them, we recorded, like I said, everything. So, I learned my lesson quick. And I'll never forget, we're in Helsinki, Finland. I think we're on a hockey rink in February, and it was like, I had...
Nice warm day.
Well, and I'm the idiot from L.A. with tennis shoes on. And, Frank had his set, and at the end, this guy stands up and says, "Play whip and post." And he, in perfect English, and so Frank looks around, and I'm right there, because I was focused on the bass drum beater. Don't let that thing break. And he says, everybody know whipping post? And he went, yeah. They called out a key to play it in, and 2, 3, 4, boom, and they had their own thing going. They'd never played it before.
Right.
And Bobby Martin just got down and he sang this thing, and it was amazing. And it's just like so much soul. And at the end, that long note that he sings, and he goes, sometimes, and it's just right at the end, tied to the whipping post, right? So I'll never forget that. We played it as an encore every night after that. So we land in L.A., wheels hit the runway, you're out of a gig, right? And it turns out that Frank calls me and he says, I need you up at the house. And I said, but it's 11 o'clock at night. And he goes, yeah, but there's something that's special I want to share with you.
Hey, we're going to hold that thought, and we'll be right back with John Good. Vinyl Night.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page, mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Everybody reads a fortune teller.
We're here with the great John Good. So where we left off was you were about to say what Frank.
Right.
Zappa.
Jeez, focus, John. Focus. Yeah. So you can imagine. I get a call from Frank. It's 11:30 at night. I said, it's 11:30. It's a school night. It was like a Tuesday. And I said, I got to go back up to drum workshop and get back into my groove. And he says, John, I need you here right now tonight. He says, I work all night. I said, okay. So I put my jeans on and I get in the car and vroom, up to the house. And so, I live in Santa Monica. That's up by Mulholland and Woodrow. Anyway, anyway, I'm driving up there and I'm thinking to myself, why is he calling? And it turns out I started to think about that case that I put on the recording tape of spare speakers. And this chill, this sweat came over my palms of my hand. I mean, I'm fearful. I'm thinking I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man. It's going to be da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da, So I'm thinking, oh my God. So I go up there and I turn the car off. I'm going, I'm dead. I'm really dead. And I walk up to the front door and I go to hit the door and he opens it. He says, what took you so long? And I went, traffic. He says, not at this hour of night. And I'm going, okay, Frank, I'm just nervous. Is something wrong? He says, follow me up. So we go up to the stairs. He goes, why don't you sit in my chair? And I'm going, okay, that means you're gone to the gallows. Your head's going to get lobbed off. And so I sit in Frank's easy chair. He would sit and smoke his cigarettes. And he goes, would you like a beverage? I'm going, oh, no, something wrong here. So he brings me a Coke, and he says, I want to play something for you. And it was Whipping Post. Ooh. And it was like, there's the big console you could land aircraft on. It was like everything's right there. It's just Frank and I. And he plays Whipping Post, and I mean, he had it loud, too. My hair was blowing. And it was like so much energy, so fantastic, and just the way I remembered it. And it was like at the end of it, he goes, turns it off. He says, I'm going, God, I was like out of breath. I'm going, that's fantastic, Frank. Pinsky really got it. He goes, yep. And he says, did you hear the edits? And I go, there's edits in that? And he goes, that went from all these different cities. It started off in Paris, went to Rome, back to Paris, to London, back to Paris, to Metz, and back to the second night in London. You didn't hear the edits? I said, no, man, Chad Wackerman's time's amazing. He goes, yes, it is. He says, you know what else is amazing? Is the way you tune those drums exactly the same every night.
Nice.
He says, I could never thank you enough for that.
Oh, that's fantastic, man.
That's what that night was about.
And you thought I
thought I was a dead man.
Like Godfather 4.
Exactly. And that song we were just listening to.
By the great Peter Cetera.
One Good Woman.
I
love. And I would happen to be your tech.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how we met.
And it's kind of the funny thing is that was done. You probably don't even remember this. How many sessions have you done?
4. Only 4.
So yeah, for the last 2 weeks, right? And the thing about that was you forget that on that level that you're at, that's you're working. But I was listening to that song. You ran that thing down. That was one take.
See,
you don't remember that.
I don't remember it being one take, but
well, they played the demo, blah blah blah. And you said, "Okay, got it," and bam, and that's what fell out of you. And in the outro of that thing is what blows my. It's like degga-degga-doo, bah, and you just kept going, and at the end, you took your headphones off, and you said, "We got that," and everyone was like clapping, and that was great. You said, "Great," because the Chiefs are playing. I gotta get out.
Oh well,
it's football season.
There are priorities in this world.
Exactly.
So, but that was produced by the great Pat Leonard.
Yes,
dear friend. Been a dear friend for both of us for a long time, and a Chicago boy. Mm-hmm. And that's his studio was called Johnny Yuma.
Johnny Yuma, yeah.
And you worked there a lot, right?
I worked there on and off with him because we did Madonna together.
Right.
And
she must have liked that, by the way.
Okay. No, but we did a couple tours, and he was like the MD. And Jonathan Moffett was playing drums.
Right.
and great drummer, and a really good band, and Madonna would just do all these incredibly, what do you call it, unpredictable things, and that, but I will tell you something, that woman works hard.
Oh, definitely.
Man, does she. So, and she demands that out of everybody.
I think you and I also worked on Express Yourself, and that was at Johnny Yuma's, and that was a very hectic, long day, if I remember. But you were right about Madonna, because she had her board, she had every single note, and a lot of people, I think, take her for granted. She's an amazing artist. So.
An incredible artist. There's like some things that, and she would go, because we had a drum machine and drum machines that Jonathan was playing too.
Right.
But you're on a big stage, and she said to me, "Okay, you start and stop each song." And I went, well, "This forefinger right here is going to, So she goes, "Yeah, come on, get used to it." And I said, "Well, when do I start the next song?" She says, "When you feel the audience dying down."
Nice.
Yeah, and she says, "Don't worry about it. You'll be fine." Okay. Whatever it took, and then Jonathan would just play over that stuff. He plays great to machines like that.
Right.
He's a wizard at it. So anyway, we find ourselves in Pisa, Italy, or something like that, and it's a live simulcast. And so it's going out to Italians everywhere. And and she had this thing where she was, ask, is everybody having a good time? And how about you people in the back, and all that. And then she'd turn around and look at me. Well, this night, I am so lucky because, does everyone like my hair? Yeah, they don't know what the hell she's saying.
Right.
And how about you people over there? Yeah. And it died down. I'm just getting ready to hit that button, and she goes, "And how about you people on the right side over here?" Like, Anyway, but those were all good experiences, great times.
Okay, how about like the worst road experience you've ever had?
Oh, you know what? That just popped right in my head. And this was an experience that I'll never forget. And anybody who's a road guy out there, if you're working with the band, I was working with the Jacksons on the Victory Tour.
Oh, yes.
And it's all stadiums, right? So we had a hit time at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Every night's 8 o'clock. And there would be like a juggling act to start with. And this guy named Chris Bliss would come on, and he'd juggle for a while, and then we'd come out and play. Well, I'm with my guy, Jage Jackson. I don't know if you ever met him.
I know Jage very well.
And we were at the hotel in Oak Lawn, Illinois, and this was in, obviously Chicago thing. And we're having dinner because, we got time till 8 o'clock, so we're, it's 6:30. And he goes, "How come you haven't seen anybody else around, none of the rest of the crew?" And we went, I don't know. Let's finish eating. And we looked down they had it posted on the door because we had like 200 people working on this thing. It says, "Change of time tonight, 7 o'clock hit." Oh. And you want to see two guys dive in this rental car. And, when you're panicked, you take off, and we went the wrong direction. And we're panicking. We're sitting there going, we're dead, man. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And there was no cell phones back then. So I said, I think we're going the wrong way. So we get down underneath and back on the freeway, brake lights. And it is just desperately bad. And we're creeping, and we're all just dying inside. And we look out at the stadium, and the house lights go off. It's way off in the distance.
Oh.
And there's a motorcycle cop there, and we show him, we said, "Please help us." And this guy parted the sea. So Chris Bliss is juggling, right? And he got us there. We literally crashed through this chain link fence, left the car, running, and just ran up the steps, and we got there in time. Boy, did I get chewed out for that.
Wow.
But man, oh man, you want to talk about terror.
Yeah, I've had a few of those, and I don't like that a lot. It's
let's not do that again.
No, but
didn't you have one the other night?
I had one at the Hollywood Bowl. It was a close one, but we pulled it off.
We made it.
And so you were on the road, but then you stop the road.
Yeah.
And you basically you transitioned into a full-time manufacturer vice president of the greatest drum company in the world.
Well, thank you for saying that. It was Don, who's like got infinite wisdom. I mean, he's got such vision. He said, you can't go on the road anymore. I said, yeah, but the money's really good, Don. He says, if you stop that, I'm going to make you poor for a while. But this is our time.
Well, when we come back, I want to hear how you have changed the world, and I obviously am very grateful to be playing what you're changing the world with. We'll be right back with drum legend designer John Good.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear. Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. Vin Village connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. Vin Village is where wine lovers connect.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page, mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Welcome back to Vinyl Night. We're with John Good from DW Drums. We were talking about the transition from, being drum tech to manufacturer.
Well, yeah, I was always a manufacturer, pretty much, but it wasn't full time because there's, you got to pay the bills at home, and there was really good money there in rock and roll and what have you. You kind of get used to that. And Don just says, you got to come back and do this now. And it ain't going to be that lucrative in the beginning. He says, but you hang with that and we'll get to a nice place. We can all take care of our families, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, okay, Don. And we got going. We got into it. And I swear, this represents 44 years of my life. And it was the best thing that I ever did. Because you know what? I'll be 62. And can you imagine if I'm still in that game, pushing a case into a truck at 2 o'clock in the morning?
I know some of those guys still.
Yeah, I know, and I worry about them all the time. So anyway, that was a great move for me.
Well, I mean, it was a great move for all of, I mean, you know, you can hear it sonically in all these great hit records or even not hit records, just the way the recording process and what you did to, you know, when I get behind your drums, and I've been playing your drums, you know, on and off, well over 10 years, and but you know, officially as a DW artist for 10 years, and I believe it's upped my game, and you make a variety of instruments that you can plug and play into all sorts of styles of music, or if you're just a young and up and coming drummer, there's that one set that will get you through. Well,
you know, and I found, you know, through all my dealings with drum shells from a company that just made shells for us back in the day,
right,
to transitioning into being able to make that means you can do anything. I can make, you know, when you can make plywood, you know, quick story, like when I would make plywood, you know, and I would have curly maple. The plywood goes horizontal, but the figure is vertical.
Right.
And everyone that had that curly maple on the outside of the shell, the pitch of the drum was really low. Not just once or twice, but all the time. So I said, what in the world could that be? It must be in that vertical figure thing. So I just go to my shell shop and I say, let's turn the grain this way. Let's turn the grain vertical. And lo and behold, there was the word physics that showed itself tremendously obvious to me. And then from there, it's like, wee-ha! Now we're going to go in an X pattern, we're going to go vertical, we're going to blend them all together, and we've had such a riot doing it. And all the exotic woods that we do, and it's become my life, really. And the thing is, it's good for drummers, and it's great for experimentation, and it's great to be able to make a drum set that is the sound you're hearing in your head.
That's, well, and I mean, I've been able to, you know, take different wood combinations you've got, but, you know, everything is timbre matched, and plug them into all sorts of styles of music. You know, I like to play all styles of music. So
you're the best at it.
Well, I don't know about that, but it makes it effortless. And so, I mean, what you go on wood hunts, I hear.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Well, I just came back from one in Europe. You know, I buy hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square feet of maple a month from Michigan, and I oak and cherry wood, and all this stuff. And I've got a guy there, his name's Don Sadler, who I think you've met.
I know Don, yeah.
And this guy is a mentor. And he and a guy named Ken Wilcox turned me on to where I need to go to find all these exotic woods. And once they made me understand, John, if you're going to make vertical things, you know, I always thought that the veneers had to be 20 inches wide and 10 feet long just to get around a bass drum and floor toms and such. But when I realized I could turn, some of those trees aren't so wide. They're little nervous guys, right? That they're flat sliced, and put them together and book match them into art. There's no stopping me. And, you know, and Don said once, he says, you know who you are? You're the woodologist. And, you know, I don't know if I'm worthy of that, but I've done an awful lot of homework, and I go to Europe, and I've gained so much friendship from a lot of these people who supply all these exotic woods all over Europe, all over the United States. And when I first started going, they just kind of, who's this guy, right? But when I made them realize what they're dealing with are typically designers who are lining the inside of an elevator or something like that with this stuff, when I was building instruments and they'd see what we're doing with it. We've become friends. I've got so many great connections and relationships that when they come to America, they stay at my house.
Right.
We break bread together, and it's blossomed into such a great experience, and this is part of what I do.
Well, I know that, can you hint at anything that is in possible futuristic instruments that everybody out there might be interested in?
This is going to be big. Going back to me throwing that tennis ball against the garage door.
Oh.
That was a material that I'm now, all these years later, putting into a drum kit in a combination with maple and or cherry. And I'm going to try it with mahogany. Whoa, what's going to happen there? So, and I'm going to introduce it, but I made you a kit of this. And you sat down and immediately said, uh-oh, we've got some trouble coming.
Yeah, I can actually share this information to a point. Yes, there's going to be trouble in Oxnard in a good way.
Yeah, in a very good way.
And actually, next week you and I are both in Sweetwater in Indiana at beautiful Fort Wayne.
Yeah, I'm starting to get into Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm going to unveil this new
sonic
direction
wonderful
next week, which I have to tell you, it was sitting in here about a week ago in this very studio we're in, and I about freaked out. It was probably the greatest sounding drum set I had ever played in my life.
That's very flattering. I'm very happy to hear you say that, because we're so proud of you and we're so happy to have you, and life's really good right now.
Well, I'm using the Cherry Gum Jazz series, but I'm using large sizes.
Right.
So a 24-inch kick, 12, 13 racks, and 16, 18 shorter dimension floor toms, which you were the one that hit me to that concept. But those drums sound unbelievable. So, is there anything else that might...
I might be coming along. Well, I actually just introduced is the Purple Heart. We started off with a snare drum, and I took it right out to my granddaughters, and they said, "Oh, if you're going to make a snare drum of that, you're going to paint a little heart on the side." And I said, "As a matter of fact, I am."
Oh, that's so nice.
So those snare drums you can break glass with. So we're excited about all this stuff.
That's kind of indestructible drums, aren't they?
It's just a beautiful sounding drum.
So if you're going out on the road for like 4 years, maybe you want this set?
I think you do.
That would be great. Well, I can say about this new idea that you've allowed me to participate in, it's the key word for me would be it's the street I was born on.
There we go. We'll leave that one at that, right?
We can leave it at that. How can people get a hold of you? Obviously we know, but...
Well, at dwdrums.com is the best way, and we often have people come here, and I love seeing some of the public come because they go to Disneyland, City Walk, DW if they're from Minnesota somewhere or whatever, and I'm proud of that because it is a great attraction. And there's so much wonderful things that we can do here. And the people who work here I'm just so proud of.
Well, again, thank you, John Good. Man, I love you. You're the greatest. You've been listening to Vinyl Night, powered by EnterTalk Radio, the groove of the music industry. Thanks for tuning in. My contact info is jr@vinylnight.com or entertalkradio.com. Just remember the one word, groove.
Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs. Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, WICH. Which.com.